What is happening, YouTube? How y'all doing today? My name is Joe, just your average Joe. We are hanging out in the garage. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I've been reselling full time on eBay for like 8 years, give or take, but been buying and selling stuff on eBay for a long, long time. Back in Western Union days, before PayPal, way back in 2000 when I started my account. But anyway, back in my college days when I used to sell my textbooks back on eBay instead of selling them back to the bookstore. That was hip to the game back then. Anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I wasn't on yesterday because sales were pretty dismal yesterday. Sales are pretty dismal today. I mean, we have an okay dollar amount, but not crazy, nothing nuts. But yesterday I sold 2 jackets. Finally, it's becoming wintertime. You can tell when jackets start finally selling. So I got a whole bunch of winter stuff. So hopefully, and I got a whole bunch of winter stuff I'm putting up as well. Between yesterday and today, I've been putting up a bunch of those clothes I picked up over the summer and in the spring that have just been sitting in bins. So I've been hammering those out between yesterday and today. And my goal is to get, I've got 3 bins full. My goal is to have all 3 of those listed and up, because a lot of it is winter stuff. Now there's some jerseys and other things like that, because I pick up that stuff too, like a soccer jersey, Carmelo Anthony, Syracuse jersey, a Jordan jersey. I got some jerseys in there too, some good jerseys, but Peyton Manning and some others. But a lot of it's winter stuff, Carhartt stuff and things like that sell pretty well. So it's just stuff that I pick up like in this past spring and into the summer, that I just usually, I don't like putting clothes up. Talked about it before. I hate clothes. If you've been with me before, I hate clothes, but they do sell. And instead of doing the same mistake I did last year, which was same thing I did last year, pick up that stuff, put it in bins, and then I didn't put it up until like February. By that time, winter's starting to dwindle down, February, March. By the time I got all the stuff put up, it was starting to become springtime. And so I didn't, it's a big mistake. A lot of that stuff's been sitting all summer long, all spring and summer long. And now that's fall, some of those things are starting to go. So like I said, yesterday I only had 2 sales. So don't make my mistake. I'm saying all that to don't make my mistake. Get your stuff up. Really, ideally, when you get stuff from yard sales, you should put it up right away. Now, I do have a few bins that I hoard clothes in, and then I try to get them up in the fall like I am now. And my goal is to get them all up, because I don't want to have, lose out on all those sales that I should be getting. And again, clothes that have been up for a while, or mainly jackets and windbreakers and things like that, have picked up a little bit lately. You saw I had the Nautica sell, the Adidas one sell. Now, yesterday I had and again, reason I wasn't on, I had 2 sales for like $40, so I just didn't come on. It was 2 jackets. One was a Pittsburgh Steeler Pro Line, old school from the 90s Pro Line windbreaker, and a Columbia fleece women's sweater that sold for like $18. And I think the Pittsburgh one sold for like $18, $17. So it was like $35 in sales. It was pretty bad. But that's all I had yesterday. So didn't jump on. But if you've got clothes hanging around, especially winter stuff, get it up, because wintertime is right around the corner. In some places it's already chilly. It's still 70s here, nice. I'm in North Carolina, so it'll still be nice, at least for the next 2 weeks. We don't have any freezing weather coming through, so that's good. But we usually don't start seeing some of those cold spurts until like November. And even then, it's still in the 60s during the day. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and move on to sales. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I don't think we had a ton of comments. In fact, we did not. Let me touch on comments first, actually. Let me refresh this, then we'll jump into sales. I don't have a whole lot to cover today. As y'all know, this is all raw and unedited, unscripted. I don't have any agenda or anything specific that's popped up to talk about, or at least that I can think of right now. So we're going to go off the comments and kind of see what folks what folks are saying in the comments, and feed off of that a little bit, and then we'll jump into sales. So I think this will be way shorter than the last video. I know an hour and a half is ridiculous, but that's because we had like 45 comments off the video before that. So it was like, and we only had 10 sales, but I was, rambling on about all those comments for an hour and a half. So I know not a lot of y'all, that's not your cup of tea watching that long of a video. And I was rambling a lot of it, but there's that. So that's why the last one was so long. This one should probably be 25-ish minutes if I had to guess. I'll probably pack with you guys on camera, maybe 30 minutes. So not too long, not too bad. First one up is Murloc. Welcome back, Murloc. Appreciate you commenting. Murloc says, great pickup, Joe. Hope all is well. Well, thank you, Murloc. I'm in the process of hammering through that stuff too, actually. All that video game stuff I picked up, those 3 bins of video games. I'm slowly and steadily getting that stuff up. I put a PS3 up yesterday or last night. I put a what was the other one? I put up actually 2 PS3s I put up last night. This morning I reshelled a Pokemon purple Game Boy Color that was scratched up. Now, if the lens is scratched up, I can just swap the lens out, and that's like they're like $6 or something like that for the lens. Super easy fix on those. However, so if you don't know how to do it, it's super easy. Look it up. Don't to take 10 or 15 minutes to swap out a lens to get a premium out of your Game Boy. If that's all that's really wrong with it is the lens is scratched up, which a lot of them are. It's a super easy fix. But anyway, for Game Boy and Game Boy Colors, and actually Game Boy Advances as well, are super easy to swap out those lenses. The one that I had, somebody engraved JM in the plastic as well. So at that point, I was like, let me reshell it for like $15. I bought a Pokemon reshell. And so obviously it's not the original, but it's a reshell Pokemon. And then I added with it a Pokemon Blue that does work, does save, pretty good condition. And I bundled it together for $179.99. I know that's high. And again, you guys know I go on the high side to start. And it's high. The Game Boy alone reshelled about $100, give or take 75 to 100. The game Blue, Pokemon Blue right now selling for about $60-ish to 70, 55 to 70, depending on condition and battery test, battery working and that kind of stuff. So I was like, I'm going to marry the two together, go one, shoot the moon, $179.99. I already got a watcher on it. Just put it up like an hour ago. So, if somebody shoots me an offer for 150, 160, I'll take it. But, just the fact that I've already got a watcher on it at $179.99, that's good. So, but anyway, little tip and trick there. Sometimes it's better to reshell. I've got 3 Game Boy SP Advances that I've got the shells for. I'm going to try to knock those out today. But all 3 of those, same thing. I'm going to reshell them. They're going to look brand spanking new. One of them's the Nintendo version, and the other 2 are Pokemon versions. And I'm going to do the same thing with those. Going to reshell them, shoot the moon, pair them up with maybe 2 Pokemon games that I've got laying around, and make sure everything is working and good to go, saving, because the battery save is the biggest thing with those to get a premium out of them. And obviously the label's not all jacked up too. So make sure that I've got a couple, something nice to pair with it, a nice Pokemon game, and I'll shoot the moon there too, $179.99 for one of those. In fact, an SP sometimes goes for a little bit more if they're in excellent condition. So I might be able to squeeze 200 out of a reshelled SP and Advance, and then a Pokemon game like Pokemon Fire Red or Emerald, not Emerald. Emerald's 200 by itself, 200 plus by itself. But like Fire or Sapphire, I've got like 7 copies of each of those. So it's like, and I can bundle them with the system and try to get a primo out of the system because I'm bundling it with a legitimate, authentic Pokemon game. So with the Pokemon reshell. So that's just kind of my thought process there. Again, shooting the moon, but that's how I do. I normally shoot the moon first because, believe it or not, a lot of times, well, I'm not going to say a lot of times, but in many cases, you do get what you ask for on the high side if it's condition sensitive item, and, you have it bundled properly. A lot of times you can get the premium out of it, and then sometimes it sits for a while, and then you readjust your price, bring it down, and then come down more to reality, and then it sells. So, but it's, that's just how I do things. Some folks start off low, some folks start right in the right on comps. I usually start on the high side of comps or on the higher side. So, but anyway, let's get into, that's what I did this morning. Reshelled, put a bunch of clothes up. And again, the rest of today, I'm not doing my football helmets business. For those that know, I do autographed football helmets, kind of like this. So let me show one off real quick and do a little plug for my room. I run a Facebook group called BTG East Coast. Again, that's BTG East Coast. It's a private group. You can join if you would like. If you like sports memorabilia, autographed sports memorabilia, we do stuff just like this. They're called breaks. If you're familiar with breaks, I like card breaks, but we do it for memorabilia. We've been doing it for 6 years now. And this is Travis Kelce. It is on an authentic helmet. So it is certified, and it got the COA by Beckett there. So there's that. So if any of y'all are interested in helmet breaks, 90% of what we run in our stuff is football helmets. Some of it may be baseball. Like I'm not gonna take it out of the bag, but I've got a Orioles like chromish looking Cal Ripken Jr. That's signed by Cal Ripken Jr. So we do mix in some baseball, mix in some basketball. Christmas time's coming around, so I got a PS5 laying around that I may throw in. I usually around Christmas time throw in PS5s in my series as well. So, for as little as as little as $40 to $80, you could win stuff that's, $500, that's $1,000. Our ceiling is like $2,500, $2,600 for like a Tom Brady authentic signed helmet, and our floor is around $300. So we do also have replica helmets. So like the replica helmets don't have the pads in them, still signed, still certified, but those are a little bit cheaper. And so the floor could be, and also we also do jerseys as well. So jerseys could be somewhere in that $3 range, but ceiling could be 2,500, 2,700. I think it is actually for a speed authentic Tom Brady. Now they're pretty pricey. So anyway, and everything in between, I'd say the average price is around $600-ish is your average. So that's on average what you will get. Obviously the high and the lows, there's highs and lows, but the average is like 600. So for as little as 40 to $80, you take a shot. It's like 1 in 16 or 1 in 8 shot. Odds are 1 in 8 or 1 in 16. It's break style. Again, if you don't know what break style is, it's kind of like a raffle. And we do that on Facebook Live almost every night when I'm running a series. Like last series I ran for 22 nights in a row. So I took 5 days off, 4 days off, 4 days off, and then I'm going to be hammering back up, and doing another 60. So we do 60 at a time. So the next series will kick off probably what's today, Wednesday? Thursday, I'll put out a teaser to show you all the big hits in the series, and then Friday night I'm going to kick off Friday night. So if any of you guys want to hang out, like I said, join the room. It is private. Just put in there that you came over from YouTube, and I'll let you in. But anywho, let's keep going. Warpig says, Warpig, thank you for commenting and hanging out once again. I always appreciate the support and the comments. To the are you serious about that? Yes, I live in Ohio, where if you plan to make 10,000 in sales on eBay or other auction platforms, you need an auctioneer's license. It certainly isn't the norm, and it came into Ohio back in 2022. I believe a couple other states adopted this as well. Now, how they track it, I don't know. All the eBay sales are buy it now. All my eBay sales are buy it now. But I won't do anything that could jeopardize my account or business. I totally agree with you there. Totally agree with you there. Now, I will say I saw your comment before I jumped on. I went down that rabbit hole of auctioneer license to do stuff like that. And actually, North Carolina is one of them too. There's a lot of states. There's like 19 states on the list. Georgia, North Carolina, and I forget the other ones, but there was a bunch on there that I don't remember, but I do remember Georgia, North Carolina, Ohio, because you were from Ohio, so obviously that one stuck out too. But there was like 19 or so states on there, and I was like, dang. Now again, how do they enforce it? How do they track it? How do they confirm it? How do they all that? I don't know. I did read some stuff on it, and then I watched a couple YouTube videos about it. Some dude that has or applied for Texas is the other one. Texas is another one. He was from Texas, and he had to get his auctioneer's license, and so he put out a video about it because he got his auctioneer license to do live auctions and things. Because I guess that's the business he's in is auctioning, and so he was blown away. So he shared that information, and this was this year, I think 2024, if I'm not mistaken. So all my stuff is buy it now too. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's kind of wild that you have to have. There's got to be a way around it through like Whatnot. Like Whatnot imposes the risk because they own the platform. So I don't think they're coming after people. You would have heard it by now because this law has been in effect for years, several years in some states. So I'd imagine by now you would have heard people more. There's not a lot online talking about it. So I'd imagine by now you would have heard more people that are on Whatnot talking about how they got shut down for it, how they shut them down and this and that and the third. And so you would see more, I think, about it. So I don't think it's being enforced, even though it is technically you're breaking the law. But if you're doing it or selling more than 10,000 worth, but I just don't think it's being enforced. And I think there's the loophole. Whatnot is some sort of loophole. Same thing with, not so much TikTok. TikTok doesn't do auction style, but with Whatnot, there's got to be some sort of legality loophole there that they are ahead of the game on. So, they take the risk on it or whatever, or, I don't know. but I'd imagine there's some sort of loophole there because nobody's. If anybody was going to get caught, and I believe he's in Ohio, if I'm not mistaken, is Chase After the Right Price. If I'm not mistaken, he's in Ohio, even though they're Detroit fans. But I believe he's in Ohio, and he is that is one of the states that does it. And he's a high volume whatnot seller, and he's been doing it now for probably better part of a year and a half ish, give or take, that he's been going hard on whatnot. So I'd imagine if anybody's going to get caught and have any conversation about it, it would be Chase After the Right Price. If you guys have ever heard of him, large following, large YouTube channel, large volume of sales through all types of platforms, and one of his main bread and butter to flip things quickly is whatnot. And so, and because he has such a large following on whatnot, he can actually get damn near eBay or better pricing on whatnot, which is not many people can say that, but he can because he has such a large following. So anyway, just throwing that out there, food for thought. And I get the whole not want to jeopardize your business. I'm not saying all that to say you should do it because of that or anything like that. I'm just saying there's not a lot of information on it, and I think there's got to be a loophole with whatnot because of it. I'm just guessing. Warpig also says I sell action figures. I sell action figures. 90% are loose. I have some sealed and larger items, but they don't make up much of my sales. I know toy sellers that only sell sealed items and are killing it because that is all they have. And sealed toys, especially vintage sealed toys, there's a huge market and they are big dollars. So if you can find them cheap, yeah. So that goes back to the argument about the quantity of your items that you have. If you have a store with 10,000 random items, that you likely will have good sales, but 3,000 random items split amongst 30 categories isn't pulling in the buyers with a variety. My store tries to maintain 3,600 or 4,000 items, and I get consistent and repeat business. Well, there's, like I said, there's I don't totally agree with that because I at my peak when I was running the thrift store and operating the thrift store, I was the eBay handling all the eBay stuff. We had it at our peak. We had about 1,000 items up at our peak. Normally, on average, we'd have about 700 to 800 items up on normally. So I would let's just say on average 700 800 items up, and they were cross category all over the place. Probably 30 categories. Absolutely. I mean, we were all over under the sun because having a thrift store, you come across so much different stuff, getting storage units. So tons of different categories, and we did very well having all the different categories. So I that part of what you're saying, I'm going to say rebuttal on and just say I disagree there because I've lived it and I experienced it, and so that part I don't totally agree on. Niching is great. I've now fast forward 6 years, 7 years, I'm niched into myself into video games, but I still dabble into a lot of other stuff too, like clothes and like other electronics and toys and shoes and whatever that I get into, purses and whatever I know that I've sold before that can make me $1, I'll jump on it. So anyway, so that part I'm just going to say I don't totally agree on because I in my experience, having a ton of different categories, you can do very well. And we were doing very well, having stuff all under the sun. Now, did I get as many repeat buyers? Did I get as much of a following as I mentioned before? No, we didn't because we were in a ton of different categories. So, that I understand that, but eBay, I mean, I wouldn't say eBay is the best place to. Well, you could rebuttal me on this one. In fact, I'm sure you will, and so I won't even really say it because you're living the opposite side where you're getting a ton of repeat business because you are niched in. But I will say, even me being in video games and niched into video games, I don't get a ton of repeat customers. But I also don't have 4,000 items up. I've got like at any given time at this point 600, 550, 600. I'm trying to get myself back up to 800 at this point. So, but anyway, so way less than what you're working with. So, and you're niched in, I think, a little bit more than what I'm niched in. I'm probably about 70-ish, 75% is video game related, and the other 25% is other. So I still have other categories and other things. So, anyway, but yeah, your sounds like you're pretty much almost 100% into loose figures, toy figures and things like that, or loose figures, or action figures. So I'd imagine you're getting more of a following because anybody and everybody that's looking for loose figures, GI Joes, Ninja Turtles, Batman, all that kind of stuff, they're going to follow your store. So, and it's kind of like to my thing is I've gotten more followers on this eBay, niching myself into video games because I do get some, not many, repeat customers for video game stuff. So because they're looking for their video gamer, and I got video game stuff, so they're following my store. So I do understand the argument where if you have a ton of different categories, you're not going to get a lot of repeat buyers. Facts. But that doesn't mean you can't kill it and crush it when having 30 different categories, because I did it. But anyway, I'm rambling, so let's keep this rolling. I got a few more comments. Ring the dong, big. Hey, Big Joe, I don't. Hey, Big Joe, I don't sell overseas. I live in Australia. What's your percentage like selling overseas? Ring the dong. Well, first of all, Ring the dong, thank you for hanging out with us all the way from Australia. That is awesome, and I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad you found my video, and I appreciate you hanging out, supporting the channel. To your comment, it's funny you actually dropped that. I just lost a sale from Canada because eBay Global Shipping Program is like, it was going to be like $30 some for the customer to get the item from me because it goes through eBay's Global Shipping. So I have eBay Global Shipping turned on all my items, and I have noticed over the years my international orders have decreased. I used to get I would say very minimal still, 5-ish%, 3% probably of my items would go overseas. It wasn't a lot even before. But since, I don't know, probably over the past year, maybe a little more, I have not been getting hardly any international orders. And it goes to the point of this guy saying it's so high through the eBay Global. In fact, I take that back. I did get another international shipping order on that Nautica jacket that I got. Or no, was it Tommy or Nautica? No, it was Nautica. Probably about 2 months ago, month and a half ago. No, because I just got the return on it. It was October, September. Well, it had to have been the 27th. Was it the 27th? Because it was a few days back. So I think it was within 30-day window. So I think it was September 27th. I shipped that out. But the guy, he is overseas, and he said he wanted to return it. But because it went through global shipping, eBay basically, I guess eBay's eating it and refunding him, because they said I don't have to worry about doing a refund. I don't have to worry about the case. And they shut the case down. I was like, cool, sweet. All right. I didn't know that's how that worked on a return for international, because I've never really had to deal with a return for international. But obviously eBay just eats it. So that's good to know. But I would still say probably 1-ish%, since maybe a year-ish ago, maybe a little over a year ago. I don't know what's changed. Probably some folks are going to say the tariffs and the taxes and the fees for international shipping and all that. But and the customs and whatever stuff that they charge them. I used to sell probably 3-ish, 4-ish%. Now it's probably less than 1%. It's very rare that I get an international order. And it's to the point of, like, Canadian guy basically was like, hey, unless you can come down on price to offset the shipping, I really want to get this item from me, but I can't. And I'm like, well, I can't bring it down another $20 to offset the shipping for you. I was like, I'll get somebody in the States to buy it. I'll just have to wait. So, I lost that sale. Now, I did offer to go through the post office directly and send it direct outside of eBay Global Shipping. So he gave me his zip code. When you go into the calculator, USPS calculator, you can do it. It doesn't give you the zip anymore for Canada. It just gives you the option for Canada, and then US, and then whatever your package is going to be, and your dimensions, your weight, which is going to be like 14 ounces. A small box, and then it spits out what it's going to charge you. The cheapest option was first class. I think it's up to 4 pounds on first class international, was $25. So I sent him a screenshot of that, and I was like, well, even if I go direct through the post office, it's only like a $5 difference from what eBay's charging you to what I'd have to charge you if I ship it directly to you. He kept telling me that no, it's only like $11, and I've shipped stuff out to the States, and it's only like $11 and this and that. And then he showed me something on the website that showed $14, and I'm like, I went through the calculator. It shows me 25. So I'd have to charge what this is. I don't think it's going to change, because I'm going to have to go direct me to you, which this is saying based off the dimensions in Canada, it's going to be $25. So again, I will sometimes go that route and go outside of eBay's Global Shipping. Now, you're not protected like you are through eBay's Global Shipping, like the example I had with the return. They just ate it. I actually had a card back in April a Pokemon card that got lost in transit, and they just refunded me and refunded the buyer, and that was that. But that was and so eBay ate that one. I didn't have to file a claim with the post office and deal with the post office. It was all just through eBay, which was nice. So again, very minimal, very minimal sales overseas anymore. I used to get a good amount of overseas sales. Now I will say, I think more of that is to my point before, when I used to work the thrift store and had a ton of variety of items, because we're in a military town, so we get stuff from all over the world in some of these storage units. You know, Japan, I remember a unit that had tons of stuff from Japan. I remember a unit that had tons of stuff from Germany. I remember a unit that had tons of stuff from Italy. I had a unit that had tons of stuff from the UK, you know, and so we would get more international orders back then, but it was also, this was, you're talking when I was operating the thrift store, that would have been 2019, 2017, 18, and 19 when I was operating the thrift store. So you're talking, you know, that was a long time ago. Things have changed, rates have changed, the shipping program through eBay's changed, you know, so not only that's affected it, I'm also not in all of those categories like I used to be. So that certainly makes a difference. So, all right. Hopefully that answers your question. I know I rambled a little bit, but thank you again for hanging out. Ring the dong. The Dark 25. Welcome back, the Dark 25. Make sure my mail lady's not coming through. Hey, Joe, my bad on the last comment. I'll proofread for future ones. You're good, man. I trust you're good. Don't worry. You ain't you're good. You're funny. Sometimes I have a hard time, but sometimes it's me. It ain't y'all. I'll say this for those that didn't want to be everything's. I'll say this for those that don't want to be in everything seller great, less competition for those of us that are and have been profiting from it. Touche. To my point, you know, War Pig. Not we're not hating on War Pig now. Don't think we're hating on you, War Pig. But you can make a killing off a ton of selling in tons of different categories. Just the same as you can kill it niching yourself into a certain category. Living and lived both lives. So anyway, we got a few more comments and then we'll jump into sales. Craig Wynn says, hey Joe, I pretty much agree with your comments about whatnot. When done right, it can be a great thing, but most of the resellers, YouTubers I've seen are just undercutting themselves for a quick buck and then complaining about sales on eBay. I can make more and faster selling bulk on local platforms or to contacts for cash than I can on Whatnot. Whatnot is it's unless you have a large following, which you can build it to a large following. I see some channels that have hundreds of people watching. In fact, the other night, a video game reseller was crushing it. In fact, I bought a game from him, but he was absolutely crushing it, and he had 290 people watching. I should have subscribed to him. I didn't even subscribe to him. I should have, but he was putting 5-second or 3-second, 3 or 5-second auctions up, man, and just killer games, new sealed, and they were getting eaten up. The game I picked up, he had 7 copies of Mario Party Jamboree, which is the newer Mario Party game on Switch. He had 7 sealed copies. Man, he was throwing them up there, and I looked real quick. I'm like, again, they're going for 3-second auctions, and they're just bumping. He starts them off at like $1 or $10, and you just see them climb. Everything he put out there was going for almost and or over market price, eBay price. Now, that game is selling, I believe, for $59.99 when I looked it up at like Walmart. I found a couple guys on brand new sealed. I found a couple guys on eBay selling it for like $51.95 or $52.95 or whatever. I ended up picking my copy up for $48 plus shipping and fees. No, $47 plus shipping and fees. It was like $53. So I was like, still got it a couple dollars cheaper than I would have got it on eBay. But a couple of copies went for like $42. A couple of copies went for like $55. You know, it was just like, you know, so this dude, he had sealed copies of PS2 games. I didn't even realize they still, up to like 5 years ago, which I don't know how he got this inventory, but he said up to like 5 years ago or 4 years ago, a few years back, they were still pumping out brand new sealed PS2 games. I was like, what? I didn't know that. But he broke out like 3 different boxes, 3 different games that he had 10 of each one sealed brand new. I was like, Digital Saga or digital something, I think was one of them. I was like, no flipping way. And he was getting, I was looking him up on eBay afterwards. Like he was getting, you know, it fluctuated, but close to eBay prices on everything. But again, he had 290 people watching. Then you get the guys that have 9 people watching, and their stuff's going for, they don't even put stuff on auction. They're just sitting there live, and what do you want? Oh, you want this Silent Hill that's $100 on eBay? I'll take 90. Like, motherfucker, you know what I mean? So like, that's all they're doing, is because they're not trying to put that on auction, because they know they're going to get raped at 9 watchers. They put that up on auction starting at leaving $70. Nobody's probably going to jump on it, or even if they do, they'll get one hit at 70 because they're getting a deal, and maybe another one at 75, and then from there it's going to stall, so they're not going to get nowhere near what they should get out of it. So it's there. Whatnot is a crazy platform, and you can get some really good stuff, but then other stuff, because you're in that bubble, is going for more. If they got like Chase after the right price, I've seen him sell stuff that's well over comps, and then he sells stuff that gets well under comps, and that's he has a huge following. Whatnot's a weird platform, man, that's for sure. But yeah, so anyway, Craig, when I appreciate you commenting and circling back and hanging out with us. Hopefully you subscribed as well. And look forward to talking to you a little more through this community and through the videos. So Winston says, for sure, I love the videos, titles, and your consistency, Joe. Winston, I appreciate your consistency in hanging out and commenting and helping the algorithm and just being around and supporting the channel. Next one up, Winston also says, Joe, mind if I ask what your eBay fees are? Mine are 13.25 on stuff like video games. Plus, I got to pay fees on the taxes to the buyer pays. And then Warpig says, fees are dependent on the category you sell in. If you have a store subscription and whether you're a top-rated seller or not, the reason eBay tax on fees onto sales tax as well as some tax as well is same reason if you use a credit card, debit card at a store, that store has to charge a fee on the total sale, including the taxes by the bank. I don't think I'm going to go any further than that. I think Warpig kind of handled it. I believe every category is different. I don't know exactly what my fee are. I don't look at my fees. I really don't, to be honest with you. I just generalize it 10, 12%. It could be higher, it could be 15. It's usually not lower. But normally, 13.25 sounds right. I think it is 13%. So I'm usually a couple bucks off normally when I'm just figuring stuff quickly in my mind on what fees are going to be. And sometimes I'm a little over. I try to over rotate a little bit so I can have a more realistic number. But yeah, I mean, again, it is based on all the. I am a top rated seller, so you get like an extra, I don't know what it is, 1% off of your final value fee or whatever, 10% off your final value fee, or I forget what it is. It's not much, but yeah, I'm in that 13 range for sure, 13 to 15 range for sure. But again, any other platform you sell on, Whatnot, TikTok, they're the same. They're all in that 13%, give or take. Macari, Posh, they're all in that 13-ish%, give or take. So they're all in the same category within a couple percents of each other. So it, unless you sell on Marketplace, by itself and do cash only, then obviously there's no fees there. But I'm telling you, at some point, Marketplace is going to tap in and start feeing folks. I don't know how, but I guarantee you at some point down the road, Marketplace, Facebook, Zuckerberg's going to get his at some point. That his stock's going to go down, and they're going to have to reevaluate stuff, and the shareholders are going to be like bitching, and then he's going to have to figure something out. And what's the easiest thing to tap into? Marketplace. Let me tap into Marketplace to make it some sort of feed op program through Facebook. I don't know how they'll do it and how they'll figure it out, but that's what's going to happen at some point, because they're leaving millions of dollars on the table yearly, tens of millions of dollars probably, based on all the traffic that happens on Marketplace. So I don't know if they'll do like a pay per, like you got to pay $2.99 a month to have Marketplace, and then they just leave it wide open, but you got to subscribe to Marketplace. That'd probably be the easiest way to do it, is just have all of us subscribe to Marketplace, $2.99 a month or something like that. And they'd make a killing, because I know I'd subscribe to it. It's worth it. Anyway, at some point it's going to happen. I doubt they're going to leave that money on the table, especially if the stock starts dive, at some point starts to go down. It could be a couple years down the road, but at some point they're going to tap into Marketplace. I promise. Anyway, last comment is Mark. Mark, welcome back. Thank you for commenting. Surprised you had decent sales. Most people were way below normal due to the due to the updates and the server issues. Well, I don't know what's going on lately, but yesterday and today so far have not been great. I'll just say that have not been great. So I am getting hit. I don't know. But that's all the comments. Let's move into sales, and I'm going to pack with y'all. So this might be a little longer video, 50-ish minutes maybe. I don't have a ton to pack. I had 5 sales between yesterday. Again, yesterday I had between Monday and yesterday I had 2 sales, 2 jackets, $35 give or take plus shipping. So I didn't jump on and show those off. From yesterday to today, 5 sales, $158.96. So not terrible. I'm not going to complain. I mean, I'm not at goal. 2 days. I didn't even hit goal over 2 days at this point yet. So pretty dismal. The last 2 days have been bad, but hopefully we can pick this up at some point. And I am pumping out, putting stuff up. So I've already put like 7 items up this morning. I'm gonna put probably another 7 to 10 up once I get off of here and after lunch. Tonight I'm processing games because I'm not doing my football helmet thing tonight or tomorrow night. So tonight I'll be processing systems and things like that. I've already got a couple of Super Nintendos and another PS3 that I got to clean up, test out, and get up. I've got those SPs I want to get reshelled and get those up. I might be tapping into my games, but I still have a bunch of systems and things that I got to tap into and clean up and all that. So before I even get to those, I have more. And then I've got somebody else that's got a bunch of systems that they're looking to dump on me. I think 5 or 6 more systems, 3 game cubes, a PS2, a PS1, a PS3, I think an N64. So like 7-ish systems that they're looking to dump on me. They resell as well. They came across a huge lot, like a $100,000 collection that they stumbled upon, and they purchased it at probably a tenth of the price. And so at this point, probably less. At this point, and bangers. I'm talking about obscure and and Earthbound and the big games. $400-$500 titles are normal in this collection. It blew me away, some of the stuff he sent me. I bought a couple for myself, but he's also has a bunch of systems that are, and everything is super clean and mint on in this collection. So he's got like 7 systems. He's got like 13, 14 bins full of stuff that he's still yet to get through. So he knows right now he's got like 7 systems. And he's going to give them to me at like 25% off or 75% off of what they go for on price charting. So if a system's 100, he's going to give it to me for 25, that kind of thing. So there's 7 so far that he's got lined up for me, and they've got the controllers, all the hookups, and they're super clean, he said, so there's no processing. He said, I'd imagine they're all going to work. He's not testing them all, but he said the condition and all of this stuff that he picked up, he's like, it's ridiculous, like new, basically, all of it. And so, in fact, he said like 30% of it is still in package, like in it, like new, in the cellophane still. But a lot of it's the mint in box or complete in box stuff. So he said it's really nothing you have to clean up or mess with. And it should all work. And so obviously I'll test it, make sure it works. But if I don't have to clean it much, but maybe just wipe it down real quick and that's it, and it's good to go. Like and he said it's not even dusty. So I may not even have to wipe anything down. It may be ready to roll. Just test it, make sure it loads up, boom, take pictures, wrap the cables, boom, boom, and keep it moving. So it's easier for me to process that kind of stuff. So anyway, so far we're like 7 systems. Last night I bought a few games from him for my personal collection, like Wild Arms 1 and 2. He gave them to me at 40% off or 60% off of price charting. So he's giving me really good deals. But anyway, I'm saying all that to say I may have all that stuff here pretty soon to be going through as well. So not only am I going to have all these nasty systems that I got to get through, I'm going to have all those nice, clean, cool systems that are nice that I got to get through. So I may not have to touch my games for a while that I have a ton of. So anyway, let's keep it going. First thing that sold was a controller and God of War. So let me grab the controller. So I've got like 3 more of these I got to clean up and put up or add to the listing. But the Atomic Purple controllers sell pretty well for N64. $18 plus shipping. I got 1 left that's up, and I got 3 more I got to clean and test, and then I'll be adding 3 more to the auction or to the listing. God of War Saga. Let's find the God of War Saga, and then while I'm here. God of War Saga, and then while I'm here, the Wolverine, X-Men Wolverine sold as well. So if y'all remember, X-Men Wolverine sold, and then it's only the case, and it does have a little warping from water damage, and it's in fair, okay condition. But somebody bought it, thought it had the game for $35. It's a $100 game. They sent it back to me because they were like, I thought it had the game. It says read, and it says clearly disc or case only. Case and artwork only is what it says in the listing. But I sold it for $35. They sent it back, just sold it again for $35. So there's that. So $35 for that. The controller for $18 plus shipping. The case for $35 plus shipping. God of War Saga sold for $25 plus shipping. Another crazy one. I had all of these up for, they were all the way down to like 17 bucks for 4, 5, 6, 4, 10, 12, 14 of these, I want to say. I had 14 of these up in a lot, guys, and nobody touched them. It goes back to wordplay and things like that. Sometimes people just don't see your stuff. But anyway, I have another purple. Oh, that's that. All right. So it goes back to wordplay. So I had these up for clean it off real quick. I had these Xbox 360 battery packs. They're the legit official battery packs. And I get them all the time in bundles. And now I'm gonna start. This is what I'm gonna start doing. I had 14 of these things up for like $17. They were originally up for like $29.99 for all 14, and nobody touched them for like a year. I had them up for that. I had them up for a long time. The only reason I revisited them is because I got a bundle like a month ago to a month and a half ago that had like 6 more of them in there. So I was like, man, I got to add those to that bundle and bump the price up. Well, then I said to myself, I started looking through the listings. I'm like, well, a pair of them are selling for 20 bucks. Like regularly. And I'm like, why is mine not selling? I got freaking 14 of these things, about to add like another 6. And I got them up for like $18 for all 14, and nobody's touched them. I don't even got a washer on them. Well, I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to put them up as a pair. I've already sold the 4-pack, which are the off-brand, the Nikon. They sold for $25 plus shipping. There was 4 of those. So even the knockoff ones, well, they're not knockoff. Nikon isn't really a knockoff, but third-party one, those, I had a set of 4 of those. They sold for $25, and now these are the official Xbox ones, $20 plus shipping. And I got watchers on all the other ones because I got the white ones up too, and I got like 3 watchers on these because I've got it's one listing with like 8 of them on there. Well, 4 bundles of 2. So and then I got the white ones up. I think it's a bundle of 2. I think I got 2 or 3 of those. 2 or 3 of those. It's one listing, but it's 2 or 3 of those in that listing. So, and I got watchers on that one too. I just don't understand eBay sometimes, man. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Somebody could have just grabbed those things and resold them, and I wouldn't have had the slightest. I'd have been happy I got rid of them. But now I'm like, well, shoot, my strategy changed there. Sometimes you just grow and adapt based on what's going on, and that's one that I'm gonna, from now on, I'm gonna pair them together when I get them in lots, and I'm going to sell them for 20 bucks, and that's that. So lesson learned. Same thing with, well, I won't get into all that, but yeah, it's a conundrum sometimes. A pair of Wii remotes. I always sell these for normally 20 bucks. They sent me an offer for like 15. I sent them back an offer for 19. I said I sell them all the time for $20 for a pair, and they took the $19. So there's that. So that's the sales. I think I'm gonna jump off and pack since this video is already 43 minutes. But that's all I got for you guys. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. eBay's weird, strange sometimes, man, how eBay works. It just doesn't make any sense sometimes. You change the listing, you tweak it, you edit it, you whatever, and the next thing you know, it sells when something's been sitting for ever. Don't make no damn sense. But it's not the first time, and it ain't gonna be the last time that happens to me, because a lot of stuff that's hanging around, sometimes you revisit at some point, and then you're like, let me change this or change that, and then next thing you know, it sells within a couple weeks when it's been sitting up for damn 6-8 months, and nobody's touched it. So sometimes it's just those little tweaks can make a difference. I just don't want to go through 600 items and make tweaks to all my stuff at this point. So anyway, that's all I got for y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank y'all for hanging out with me on Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, if I didn't mention that. Today's Wednesday. But thank you for hanging out on Hump Day. We will see y'all tomorrow, assuming we got sales, which hopefully we get some sales. Hopefully we break 200 bucks. Let's go. Hopefully your sales are going well, because mine are not going that well. We will see y'all tomorrow. Make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, and all that good fun stuff. Later, guys.